Hello everybody, Toastbomb here, today bringing you a ton of information on the matchmaking game type settings. You're not going to want to miss it, but first I have to tell you that this is not my video. This is someone else's gameplay, so if you like what you're seeing on the screen and you want to check out more of it, please go do so, because without their video, this video would not be possible. So I'll put a link in the description to the original video if you want to go check that out. Alright, so game types. Let's jump right in. Now, the first one they talked about was Slayer Pro. It will be a 4v4 game type, with everybody having the same three preset loadouts. One will be a DMR loadout, one will be a BR loadout, and one will be an AR loadout, all having only one grenade that will always be a frag grenade. There will be no armor abilities, and there will be no personal ordnance. Also, general player actions such as movement speed and reload speed will be increased by 10 to 15%. There will be no radar, and everybody will have the resupply perk, which, if you don't know, allows you to pick up grenades off of dead bodies, because now you no longer do that by default. So this is the first time we've seen this. This is pretty interesting. It's the first time that they're talking about a playlist that has preset playlists, is very bare bones, and doesn't give you a massive amount of customization like Infinity Slayer does. So it will play very similar to the classic sort of Halo that you know and love, and it will be very interesting to see. I'll definitely play it, but I don't know, I didn't really get that into the Slayer Pro playlist in Halo Reach, so I don't know. Once MLG comes out, I'll probably just end up sticking to that. Oh, and that's one other thing I forgot to mention. Slayer Pro is actually its own playlist now. It's not just a game type inside the general Slayer playlist. It's actually its separate own game type. Then they talked about SWAT. Now, nothing's really changed here hugely. Still no radar, still 4v4. But the one thing that they did change is that you'll have two preset loadouts of the BR and the DMR. They didn't get really into how those will actually be. They said it'll be very similar to Slayer Pro, so I can maybe assume that you'll have the resupply perk again, stuff like that, but it'll only be BR and DMR. Now, this will be an interesting battle to see, but before actually playing it, what I'm expecting, for SWAT at least, is that the BR will kind of reign superior. I think the DMR will be really great in some areas, but for the most part, your engagements are fairly like medium range, and being able to have a 3-shot burst where you can kind of whip across the person and land a headshot is definitely a lot quicker, and you can kind of be a little more sloppy and quick about it than you can with a DMR, where you have to be a little bit more precise and slower with your shots. And then they talked a little smidgen about Oddball. We don't really get much out of it because we pretty much know everything about it, but we did get a few little details, like it will be a 5v5 playlist. This will be its own separate playlist, Oddball. It won't just be an objective. It sounds like they're separating all that stuff out, so CTF will be its own playlist, and Oddball will be its own playlist. So 5v5, and then also it's very hard to catch. They're saying they're experimenting with stuff because it's auto pickup, so when you pass the ball to people, it'll automatically, if it runs into you, you'll pick it up. And they were saying they're making a few little experiments, like, well, do we want it to be easier to catch, where like the ball kind of goes near you and then you pick it up, but then that's kind of inconsistent, and then you see the ball kind of like teleport to the person, and that's not really what you want. So they basically just decided to go with, if it hits you, you got it. If it doesn't, you don't. So you have to hit the player. There's no like margin of error there. So you have to be very precise when you're passing the ball and when you're catching it. And then we got some details about CTF. They said that they actually changed the flagnum damage from the regular magnum damage to boost it 20% so that you feel a little more lethal while holding the flag, and like you can actually win some engagements, because obviously pistol's secondary weapon, so it's not really used to kill people. So this flagnum will be a slightly beefed up version, and also when you pick up the flag, you pull out the magnum very quickly, so you can instantly get into battles and start cleaning guys up. Then they talked about the join in progress thing that's going to be in Halo 4, which has a lot of people skeptical, including me. Now, they said it's going to be for pretty much the whole game where you can join in progress, except for little later parts of the game. They have systems set in place to tell whether the game is about to end, so they won't have people joining and then. So you're not going to join into a game and have there be 10 seconds left and then get a loss that wasn't your fault. Also, they said that it's during the entire voting process, so when you're voting for your map and stuff like that, if someone drops out, dashboards, whatever, then players can still even join in progress there, so that's pretty cool. They also mentioned that it's good for the skill of the game, which I disagree about. I have a whole video on that, but whatever. I don't know what they're thinking there. They also mentioned that pretty much each game type will have its own separate playlist. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I didn't mention the reason why. The reason why is because it's much easier to track players' skill if it's just a single game type, because there's not this huge mixed bag and mixed thing of whether a person's good at MLG. They could be a lot better at CTF, or they could be a lot better at Slayer. So it's easier to actually pair you up with better, more equal people when you have everything split up like that. Which I don't know why they can't just kind of track that stuff partially individually and then have it all in one playlist. But, I guess, they probably know what they're doing, so I guess that's cool. Unfortunately, that is all the details we got. I was really hoping we'd get something on skill-based matchmaking stuff like the BPR ratings or true skill sort of 1 through 50 stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't get any today, but they have said that they're going to release something soon in October that will give us more details on that. So, fingers crossed for a true skill ranking system. But anyways, that'll be it for this video. If you like the video, you can leave a like or a comment, or you can subscribe because I post Halo videos every day. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.